What if I told you that within your body resides a force so powerful that the ancients called it sacred fire, an energy so intense that when uncontrolled, it devours entire civilizations, but when mastered, it builds empires and awakens sleeping gods? What if I reveal that you, modern man, have been squandering this primal force daily, throwing away not just bodily fluids, but literally your life essence, your creative force, your magnetic power? Have you ever wondered why, after a few minutes of instant gratification, a feeling of emptiness washes over you? Why motivation disappears, energy drains away, and you feel like a warrior who has just surrendered his sword to the enemy? It's not your fault. You've been conditioned, programmed, hypnotized by a society that has turned your life force into a consumable product. What you are about to discover goes against everything you've been taught about masculinity, pleasure, and power. We'll delve into the depths of a truth that Napoleon Hill only whispered to his closest disciples, a practice that Eastern masters guarded as the greatest secret of human alchemy, the transmutation of sexual energy. Your sexual energy isn't just reproductive drive, it's the raw material of creation, the force that moves universes, the fuel that powers every great human achievement. When Napoleon Hill studied the most powerful men of his time, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, John D. Rockefeller, he discovered a hidden pattern. All of them, in some way, had learned to master and redirect their sexual energy for creative and fulfilling purposes. But modern society has made you an unconscious slave. They sold you masturbation as liberation, porn as normality, constant release as health. They transformed you into an addict who doesn't even realize his own imprisonment. Each ejaculation isn't just the loss of semen, it's the loss of zinc, essential vitamins, proteins, but most importantly, it's the loss of that subtle energy the Chinese call Jing, the Hindus call Ojas, and that Napoleon Hill identified as the fuel of genius. Observe nature around you. The lion doesn't waste its life, force on empty pleasures. It conserves it, conserves it, conserves it, and when the moment arrives, explodes in pure power. The tiger doesn't ejaculate for pleasure. It conserves its essence until the moment of procreation, thus maintaining its magnetism, its presence, its intimidating strength. You, modern man, have been taught to act like a domesticated animal, releasing your life force with every impulse, every erotic thought, every moment of boredom. Seminal retention isn't repression, it's alchemy. It's not denial of desire, it's transmutation of desire. When you stop wasting your life essence, something extraordinary happens. This energy begins to rise up your spine, fooling your brain, intensifying your intelligence, increasing your magnetic presence, awakening a confidence that emanates from every pore of your being. Tesla was celibate. Da Vinci channeled his sexual energy into his creations. Gandhi practiced brahmacharya, the conservation of vital energy. These weren't repressed men. They were alchemists who discovered the secret of turning lead into gold, impulse into purpose, desire into power. But you were told the opposite. They told you that retaining semen causes cancer, as scientifically debunked by modern studies. They told you that masturbation is healthy, while you wither in depression, anxiety, and lack of motivation. They convinced you that sexual release is liberation, while you become increasingly enslaved to your impulses. The truth is that your sexual energy is your life force. Each ejaculation is like turning on a tap, and letting your life energy drain away. You lose not just bodily fluids, but literally your magnetic force, your presence, your ability to influence the world around you. When you begin to retain your seminal essence, something mystical happens. First, you feel the energy building up like a steam under pressure. Your dreams become more vivid, your mind sharper, your gaze more penetrating, your voice gains natural authority. People start to notice you without you doing anything different. It's as if you begin to emanate a frequency that attracts opportunities, people, situations that before seemed impossible. This isn't New Age fantasy, it's pure biochemistry. When you don't ejaculate, your testosterone levels rise, your zinc isn't wasted, your B vitamins remain in your system. But more importantly, the subtle energy that animates that semen remains in your nervous system, fueling your life force, your creativity, your magnetic presence. Chinese Taoists taught that a man is born with a limited amount of life essence. Each ejaculation diminishes this reserve. When you stop wasting this essence, you stop aging energetically. Your vitality increases, your creativity explodes, your ability to materialize your dreams multiplies exponentially. Napoleon Hill discovered that all great achievers had one thing in common. They had learned to convert their sexual energy into creative energy. Ford channeled his libido into creating cars. Edison transformed his sexual drive into pure inventiveness. Rockefeller sublimated his desire into business strategy. They weren't men without desire. They weren't men who understood how to use desire as fuel for something greater. But this knowledge was purposefully hidden from you. A society of powerful, magnetic, creative, and accomplished men would be impossible to control. So they sold you masturbation as liberation, porn as entertainment, constant ejaculation as a biological necessity. They transformed you into an addict who doesn't even realize his own dependence. Every time you give in to the urge to masturbate, you're not just releasing semen, you're literally surrendering your personal power. You're telling the universe, I can't control my own impulses, how can I control my life? You're programming your subconscious mind to accept weakness, lack of discipline, surrender in the face of the first obstacle. Compulsive masturbation is the perfect training ground for mediocrity. It trains your brain to seek instant gratification, to avoid discomfort, to always choose the easiest path. Then you wonder why you can't maintain discipline at the gym, in your studies, at work, or in your relationships. You've trained your nervous system to give up at the first sign of difficulty. But when you stop wasting your vital essence, when you embrace semen retention as a spiritual practice, something revolutionary happens in your psyche. You train your willpower at the deepest, most visceral level possible. You prove to yourself that you can master your most primitive impulses. And if you can master this, you can master anything. Semen retention is like forging a sword. The raw iron of your desire needs to be passed through the fire of discipline and shaped by the hammer of self-awareness. The result isn't the absence of desire. It's the transformation of desire into directed power, into magnetic force, into a presence that commands respect without demanding it. In the early days, you'll feel the power building up like a steam under pressure. Your mind might become more agitated, your dreams more intense, your sexual energy amplified. This isn't a scene to give up. It's a scene that the alchemy is working. This energy, once wasted, is now being conserved, purified. If you've come this far on this journey, If something inside you recognizes the truth in these words, then you're ready for the next level. But this transformation doesn't happen on its own. You need knowledge, techniques, a map to navigate this inner alchemy. That's why I created this channel. Not just to tell you about these secrets, but to guide you step by step on your journey of transmutation. Subscribe now and hit the bell, because what I share here can literally change your life. But be warned, this knowledge isn't for everyone. It's only for men who are willing to leave mediocrity behind and embrace their true power. If you're one of them, hit the subscribe button now. Your most powerful self is waiting on the other side. As you progress in semen retention, you'll discover that you're not just conserving semen, you're conserving your own essence. The Chinese had a saying, "The wise man ejaculates twice a year and lives 1,000 years. The foolish man ejaculates twice a day and lives like a dead man." This isn't about physical longevity. It's about vital intensity, about living each day with the strength of 10 ordinary men. The energy you conserve through semen retention is the same energy that fuels your creativity, your intuition, your ability to influence others, your personal magnetism. When you stop wasting it on empty pleasures, it accumulates as energetic capital, generating compound interest in the form of greater presence, greater mental clarity, greater personal power. But beware of the false prophets of sexual liberation. They'll tell you that semen retention is repression, that you need to release your sexuality. These are the same ones who profit from your weakness, who sell products to keep you addicted, who build financial empires on your lack of self-control. They know that a man who masters his sexual energy is a man who cannot be controlled, manipulated, or sold. True sexual liberation doesn't come from more ejaculations. It comes from the conscious mastery of your sexual energy. The truly free man is the one who can choose when and how to express his sexuality, not the one who is a slave to every impulse that arises in his mind. When you practice semen retention consciously, you're not repressing your animal nature, you're taming it, training it, transforming it into a powerful ally. The tiger of your sexuality isn't eliminated. It's mounted, ridden, its strength used to get where you want to go. Ancient tantric texts taught that a man possesses 3 levels of sexual energy. The first level is animal, basic reproductive impulse, automatic ejaculation, pleasure followed by emptiness. The second level is human, conscious sexuality, emotional connection, prolonged pleasure. But the third level is divine, the transmutation of sexual energy into spiritual, creative, and fulfilling power. Most modern men live eternally at the first level, like animals trained to respond to stimuli. A few reach the second level, experiencing more conscious sexuality. But only true alchemists reach the third level, where sexual energy becomes fuel for the total transformation of the being. Semen retention is your shedding process. You're leaving behind the version of yourself that was a slave to impulses and being reborn as a man who masters his energies. But this process isn't comfortable. There will be times when your entire biology will scream for you to return to old habits. Your mind will create 1,000 justifications for just one time. Your body will create tension, agitation, discomfort. These are the dragons you must face on the path to becoming a true man of power. Each resisted impulse is a victory over your lower nature. Each temptation overcome is an upgrade in your mental software. Each day of semen retention is a day you prove to the universe that you're ready to receive true power. Taoist masters taught specific techniques for working with this conserved energy. Breaths that make the energy circulate throughout the body instead of accumulating only in the genital area. Meditations that refine this raw energy into mental fuel. Exercises that strengthen your ability to contain and direct this vital force. But the most important thing is to understand that semen retention without purpose is just frustration. You must have a clear goal, a powerful vision, a dream big enough to justify this sacrifice. The energy you conserve must be invested in something worthwhile, a business, an art, a mission, a profound personal transformation. Hash, the alchemy of self-mastery. Harnessing your vital energy. Napoleon Hill observed that all great achievers experience periods of intense creativity, coinciding with periods of sexual energy conservation. Edison had his invention marathons, where he'd work for days without sleep, forging periods of complete focus on developing new models. Tesla experienced phases of divine inspiration where inventions came to him as revelations. All these men, consciously or unconsciously, were practicing sexual transmutation, converting libidinal energy into creative power. They discovered that the same fire that can burn in an instant of release can fuel months of intense creativity, years of unwavering focus, decades of extraordinary achievement. Your sexual energy is like an alchemical furnace. You can use it to burn paper, fleeting pleasure that turns to ashes in seconds, or you can feed it constantly, keeping the fire burning, using that heat to transform the lead of your ordinary life into the gold of an extraordinary existence. But remember, the fire that can create can also destroy. If you begin practicing semen retention without wisdom, without proper techniques, without guidance, this accumulated energy can become destructive. It can lead to uncontrolled aggression, extreme anxiety, even worse, sexual obsessions. That's why ancient masters only taught these techniques to disciples who demonstrated maturity, discipline, and a clear purpose. It's not a game. It's not an internet trend. It's not a challenge to prove masculinity. It's a profound spiritual practice that requires wisdom, patience, and proper guidance. When you truly master semen retention, something mystical happens in your presence. People begin to feel different around you. Women feel an inexplicable magnetic attraction. Men respect your natural authority. Children instinctively trust you. Animals calm down in your presence. This happens because you've stopped leaking your vital force and started radiating concentrated power. Your energetic aura becomes denser, more present, more impactful. You develop what the ancients called regal presence, the ability to influence environments and people simply by being present. But the greatest benefit of semen retention isn't power over others. It's power over yourself. When you prove you can master your most basic and powerful impulse, you develop unshakable confidence in your ability to master any area of life. If you can control your sexual energy, you can control your finances, your career, your relationships, your destiny. Compulsive masturbation trains the mind for surrender, for instant gratification, for choosing the easy path. Conscious semen retention trains the mind for mastery, for delayed gratification, for choosing the path that leads to greatness. Every day you practice semen retention is a choice of the harder road, but one that leads to the summit. Every resisted impulse is a willpower workout that transfers to all other areas of life. Every temptation overcome is a victory that boosts your self-esteem deeply and lastingly, but don't romanticize the process. There will be days when you fail, when social, biological, and psychological pressure outweigh your discipline. These aren't failures, they're lessons. True strength doesn't come from never falling, but from getting up every time you fall, with more wisdom, more determination, more clarity about why you're doing this. Eastern masters taught that there are three types of men in relation to sexual energy. The average man is dominated by it. He lives as a slave to his impulses, wasting his vital force on empty pleasures. The evolved man learns to work with it. He consciously uses his sexual energy to create deep connections and elevated experiences. But the wise man transcends it. He completely transmutes his sexual energy into spiritual, creative, and achieving power. You are being invited to become a wise man, not someone who denies his sexual nature, but someone who elevates it to a level where it serves higher purposes than momentary gratification. Imagine what your life would be like if you channeled all the energy you waste on masturbation into building the business of your dreams. Imagine if you redirected all that vital force into developing your skills, deepening your knowledge, strengthening your body, elevating your consciousness. Imagine using that sexual magnetism to attract not only partners, but opportunities, connections, experiences that would completely transform your existence. This isn't fantasy, it's the natural result of stopping wasting your vital essence and starting to consciously invest it in your growth. When you conserve your semen, you conserve much more than bodily fluids. You conserve your creative force, your vital energy, your magnetic power, your ability to manifest your dreams into reality. Sacred texts from all traditions speak of this. The brahmacharya of Hinduism, the mindful celibacy of Buddhism, the alchemical chastity of Hermeticism, the conservation of Jain in Taoism. All these traditions recognize that sexual energy, when conserved and transmuted, becomes the fuel for spiritual enlightenment and material achievement. It's no coincidence that many of history's most powerful men practiced some form of sexual conservation. They intuitively understood that wasting this energy was wasting their potential for greatness. Your journey of semen retention is like planting a seed of power in the soil of your discipline. At first, nothing seems changed outwardly, but beneath the surface, deep roots are forming. Your willpower is growing. Your confidence is solidifying. Your personal magnetism is intensifying. And then, one day, suddenly, you realize you've become a completely different person. Your presence is stronger. Your mind is sharper. Your energy is more intense. Your words carry more weight. Your silences have more power. You've transformed into the kind of man who attracts opportunities, who inspires respect, who manifests his desires through the sheer force of his presence. This is the power of conscious semen retention. It's not about denying your nature. It's about elevating it. It's not about suppressing your desires. It's about transforming your desires into focused power. It's not about becoming less of a man. It's about becoming the kind of man your ancestors revered as a demigod. The choice is yours. You can continue wasting your vital essence on empty pleasures, living as a ghost of your true strengths, or you can embrace the alchemy of semen retention, transforming yourself into the kind of man who commands respect through the power of his presence, who attracts abundance through the strength of his magnetism, who materializes dreams through the concentrated intensity of his life force. The universe is waiting to see which choice you will make. Your most powerful version is on the other side of your discipline. The man you can become is patiently waiting for you to stop wasting your strength and start focusing it like a laser beam directed at your highest goals. The strongest psychological weapon a man can wield is not aggression, not manipulation, not brute force. It's absolute mastery over his own vital energy. It's the ability to conserve, concentrate, and direct his sexual essence towards purposes that transcend momentary pleasure and create lasting legacies. The fire is lit. The journey has begun. The alchemist within you is awakening. Your transformation from ordinary man to a force of nature begins now, in this moment, with this decision to stop wasting your vital essence and start forging it into the sword of your greatness. The power has always been within you. Now you know how to awaken it.